stuff around the house. But yeah, I mean, maybe I'm just tired because I was in the sun so much.
Yeah, you know what? Cry me a river. I'm so bummed. It's supposed to be hot. It's supposed to be hot here this week, but it's not right now. But it is going to be. I think Jennifer and I are going kayaking this weekend, so it's going to get better. So or camping. We haven't decided. Hiking. Yeah, we're hiking Friday. We're hiking Table Rock, which is, I know you don't hike, so you have no idea what that is, but it's kind of cool.
No, we hike, but
you hear the music, by the way? The music was kind of going, it's doing this music thing, and then it just stopped, and then our countdown stopped, everything stopped. That's so weird.
Cool.
I don't know what's up with that, but Ben is in the background making it all happen, and so in 30-some seconds, we're going to go for it. So, by the way, I don't even look to see if we're online right now or any of that kind of stuff. I just don't do it. I just basically trust that it's all happening.
And by the way, I will tell you this, that we did not but our shirts kind of match. With the blue.
Well, they kind of do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but mine's a freebie from the Walk for Life. I did. Yours is like North Face. Yours is $127. Mine is free. So there's the difference. But if you want to know the difference, that's pretty much it.
This was post-Christmas sale, $13, and it is. It's a
post-Christmas sale.
So you guys are live.
Someone paid the full price of $127. I'm telling you, I got a good bargain because it's a soft shirt. So
that is a good deal.
Everybody.
Way to go, North Face. Hello, everybody in Facebook land. We love you, and we are pumped to be hanging out at Shout Out Monday. And we are going to be remembering when we're posting things. We're going to be remembering hashtag shout out. Hashtag shout out. That's what we're doing. So Thomas, we were talking, we were getting in here. We're both tired. We're both tired today.
It's Monday, and we need it. But here's the deal: when you and I get on camera together, energy happens. I think
it does.
That's part of my hashtag Monday motivation. Is just being on,
waking up
on with you, and so it's a lot of fun.
If this doesn't work, then I just get on with Tom. I've been down a pot already. That's a pot. I have done a pot.
What is on that mug? Is that like feathers?
It's surfboards. It's surfboards, buddy.
Oh, yeah. I got to get my eyes checked.
Yeah, I mean, come on. So surfboards, and I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that the weather's going to keep getting better, so I drink out of my Hawaiian cup. So aloha to all of our friends out there. Reminding you why we're doing this. Shout Out Monday. We're doing it because as gospel dudes committed to the redemptive work of Christ in our lives, and believe that not only changes us, but we want to be an influence of that gospel and a love to others. We just were thinking, man, during all the Corona crud and all this stuff happening, we just need to get together and do some shout outs, thanking people, encouraging people. And we want to encourage our friends to do the same thing. So take an opportunity today to be an encouragement. And over the last several weeks, we talked about tons of different ways to do that. But one of the ways here on Facebook land is to just make a comment or send a comment to someone and just do hashtag shout out. Just say, hey, I want to be a part of that movement. I want to be an encouragement and a gift to others. So that's it. Anything else, Tom? It encourages us.
You said as gospel dudes, and what does the gospel do? The gospel gives life, right? I mean, it's the good news of Christ. The gospel is good news, and it gives life. And so words of encouragement, words of affirmation, words of shouting out gives life to others. And so that's what we want to do. And what a great way to start our week is by doing that for others, to others, with others, other things with others. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, other things with others. Wow, that's a tagline for something. Other things for others. Sometimes we overcomplicate it too. I mean, honestly, I'm encouraged just by hanging out with you. I mean, I'm starting out going, oh my gosh, it's Monday. And I've been up for a while. I had a men's group that I was just in and all that stuff. And it's like, but I'm still dragging, a little bit. And I get encouraged when I'm with encouraging people. Okay, when I'm with other people, and you and I, we rib each other in that because we've known each other so long, so we can, talk smack. And but the reality is, I get encouraged when I'm hanging out with Tom. I hope I'm an encouragement to him. It's enjoyable, and it kind of lifts the spirit. It just allows you, like, okay, cool. So that's what we want to be to others. So we're encouraging you. Shout out, and you don't have to scream, but do a shout out. today and just be an encouragement. And don't overcomplicate it. It could simply be writing a note. It could be just making a phone call. It could be sending a text. It could be, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go over and check on my neighbor, spatial distancing all that, but I'm gonna check. I know Sioux Falls is opened a lot, but bro, we are in Oregon. I don't want to get off into this and that, but it's part of the shout out. It's why this medium is so important to do that, is because things are still locked down a lot. We're only in phase 1 of 3. Our county, I just got a letter from the superintendent. They're not sure schools are going to be able to open up this fall. I mean, do you realize how, world rocking that's going to be, for some people and parents and
to start like that. That's the plan. It's not everybody, hey, you got to go home and we're going to do this. This is, hey, this is the plan moving forward.
Yeah. So tough. I mean, you talk about a new normal. So anyway, all that to say, that's why this environment, maybe some people may not feel comfortable about being able to go out. Our friends in East Africa and other places that watch this as well, they cannot go out, man. I mean, they're not allowed to even drive in a car with 3 or 4 people. You're going to get pulled over, if that's the case. It's like, whoa. So the need, they can't meet together. They cannot meet together. They don't have the technology like we have, and all of this to be able to instantly have data. So the importance of just being able to check in on people and just love them, just express God's love to them, and however you'd be led to do that. So that's a cool thing. Today we were talking about we were joking about the post-mortem, I don't know what it's called. That's not a very good, it's more like a biological term, kind of examining, but it means those that have gone ahead. Okay. Those got the great cloud of witnesses, the generations of people that may not be with us right now. Okay. But in Hebrews, when it talks about, therefore, since you're surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let you throw off everything that hinders and run the race marked before you. And so in that, it says, therefore, thinking about, and all of chapter 11 was this idea of all of these men and women of God that follow Yahweh. And they're saying, remember, when you face the hardships and the challenges and, on this race that's a perseverance, think back, remember. It even talks about, and I don't have exact memorized, so I apologize if I'm paraphrasing here, but consider, matter of fact, pull it up. Would you pull up Hebrews chapter? So I make sure I get it right. But it said, I think I got it here. It says, consider him who endured such opposition from sinners so that you do not grow weary and lose heart. That's in verse 3. And it's like, so in your struggle against this, persist. But remember, there are others who have gone before you, who have left footsteps worthy of stepping in. So what we just talked about today is let's just take 2. I can think of a dozen. I'm sure you can think of a dozen, but I'll let you start, and you go, then I'll go. We'll go back and forth, and just briefly just say, who is someone in your life, Tom, that is no longer with us on this earth, but when you think of people that exemplified this attribute of being an encouragement and just a nurturing person in your life, who would that be? And so let's shout out. Let's give a shout out to them.
And I think that's such a great thing to think, because a lot of times you just kind of you move on, and then we don't always think back and say, wow, these people modeled for us, what it was like to be faithful, or even just to say like, hey, here's how they rose above challenges. Here's how they pressed in and leaned into the Lord and grew through that experience. And, there's a couple people that when we were talking about it, that I thought about, one that was older and probably more timely in their passing. And then another one was very young, and in the way that all took place. And so I'm gonna start with the older, and then, and it was my grandfather, in the way that he really helped.
What's his name? Say his name.
Carl Ruby, my grandfather, who was very, very influential in my life. Very smart businessman from Iowa. But I grew up in Southern California, as you know, and until my parents split up when I was 9 years old. And then he and my grandmother drove from Iowa to Southern California. We loaded up all of our stuff in a vehicle, and drove it across and moved us to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And one of the things that my grandfather did was when I grew up, we had this big H on my garage door. You know the H I'm talking about, which could lead us.
Oh yeah, I know the H.
Door. But we had this H that was on our door, like a garage door, that stood for Henderson, obviously not for house. That would have been weird, but it stood for Henderson. And we were pulling away, and my grandpa saw it, and he said, "You know what? Someday Tom is going to want that for his house." And so he stopped the car, he got a ladder, and he climbed up and detached that from the house. And then when I got married, he wrapped that H up and gave it to me as a wedding gift and said, "It's time to establish your own Henderson house." And it was such a powerful moment that he was already thinking ahead from when I was 9 years old to the time that I was now getting married, and what it was to be a man of the house. And because I didn't grow up with a dad, he taught me about what it was to be a man of the house, to take care of your wife, your kids, to serve God faithfully, to be generous, to be service, and to really care for people. He taught me how relationships are so important through every facet of life. So I'm just really thankful for my grandfather's influence on me, and I was able to sing at his funeral, and then my grandmother passed about 10 years after that. But I was just so very thankful for the foundation that he laid in my life.
That's cool. I love it. Carl Ruby. And there's a story about the H later that in Tom and I's history that we'll talk about it another time, but it's pretty fun.
But it's funny.
No, that it's funny. It's funny, but that is so cool. And you see in the relationships, the importance of that. Carl brought that, Grandpa Carl, and patience and humility. And man, it's so cool because I'm going to shout out, one of mine was to my grandpa Keebaugh, and Eldon Keebaugh. Came back from World War II, simple guy, and he was a janitor at the school district, retired from that. Him and my grandma, Genneth, they began, these are two names you just don't hear a lot of.
I was just going to say, they're great names.
You know, but they're great names. And so you have this lifestyle of these people. They bought some rentals and they retired, and then he began to do work at a high rise in Portland as an apartment manager. Well, all this to say, I did not have a great relationship with my dad, growing up, and was absent from him in my adolescence. And so I was hungry for a male influence like this. And my grandpa, who was actually my step grandpa, biologically, he was my step grandpa because he was my dad's stepdad. But this guy, quiet, introverted, a lot like me, real introverted.
Right, very quiet,
okay.
Very quiet.
All right, and quiet. Oh my gosh, no. But he taught me some of the same things you're doing, relationships, how they're important, and humility. I mean, a guy with humility and service, to where just serving others, this idea of your life is the value of being a disciple is as a servant. And he just showed me that. He showed in the way he interacted at church, because I remember growing up with him at, when they'd take me to church and those things. But I wasn't following Jesus, and I was like frustrated in life at that time. But man, he really demonstrated that. So I have a picture of them in my office. I have my grandpa's flag folded from his grave. He's a World War II vet, and I have that in my office as well. And so anyway, just cool. I think that's awesome. Men and our grandpas, and that reminds us during this time. And you know what? We may not be able to do any more shout outs because we're getting late, but I got to tell you, that is really cool because we can be that for our kids and our grandkids and the economy of it. Tom, you know this too, because you're getting ready to do a workshop coming up with ResGen for parenting, and the sheer math of it is. And if you want to find out about that, seriously, just go to resgen.org or to the Facebook page. But it's on there. You get the dates and everything on that. And but the sheer math of it is we can't just be that influence for our own kids.
No.
The sheer math says our kids' peers and friends need Eldon Keebaughs. They need Carl Rubies. They are going to have that lived out through Tom Henderson and through John Garrick and others, because the numbers are just too great. And so, Anyway, great shout outs. Two of those.
Well,
I'll just give one more, just a quick one. Don't give the story of it, but give the other one.
right. And then here's the deal that I was just thinking, is the stuff that our grandfathers taught us, like the teaching, but so much was just caught. Like, I mean, they purposefully
taught versus taught. Yeah.
Yeah, they purposefully taught us, but through their modeling, through who they were, we caught, what we were supposed to maybe live like, be like, all that kind of thing. So not only did my grandfather teach me how to catch bluegill off the harbor of West Okoboji Harbor in Iowa. And
Okoboji. That's just
yeah, exactly. And so
how about that name? Okoboji for like a middle name. John Okoboji Garrick or something. Okoboji. That's another one. Good names to name.
Yeah, well, maybe you can name your next kid after that. Because you're still gonna have more, right? No, okay, never mind. So
it would be a miracle, but we won't get into that. Okay.
The God of miracles. But I'm not going to speak that over you, but just pray about it.
You.
Just pray about it.
I appreciate it. I prayed about it.
Okay, so the other person I just want to give a shout out real quick is when I remember back when I was a youth pastor, and there's people that are more present. I mean, more happens like recently, but I think back to when I was a youth pastor in Oregon, and a gal by the name of Janelle Bentley passed away suddenly from a brain aneurysm, leaving her husband John and 3 daughters. And it was such a sad, a sad experience to walk with that through them and all of that. But there's a couple things. John and Janelle were such devoted followers of Christ and had this joy about them. And Janelle was such a joyful person. And even amongst the heartache of her passing, seeing her husband, John, just lean into Jesus and lead his daughters well and be a part of the youth ministry and just care for other people. And now he and his wife are serving the Lord together, his new wife.
New wife. Yeah.
Yeah. And they've been married now for, probably good
10 years, probably at least. Yeah.
10, 12 years. Yep. And God
cool. That's a good one
for them. So I just am so thankful that, Janelle saw a huge transformation in her life. And then when the Lord, took her through the tragedy, knowing that she was with Jesus, forever. And then just seeing John continue to lean into the Lord and grow in his relationship with Jesus, and now serve him so faithfully. So that's just something that I hold dear to my heart.
That's cool. Yeah, that's a good one. I remember that experience. I was with you in that, and yeah, I think of it actually. I just thought of it because I drove by on the way out 213, which is a highway that no one knows about unless they're here in Oregon, but where Janelle was buried. And I think of it every time I go by that cemetery. I think of the experiences and much of what you are talking about. And again, it's not just the ceremony of the honoring of the life and all that, but it's the life that we're reflecting. It's the great cloud of witnesses. It's that experience, everything you just described. And it's like, so I want people, listeners, think about this. Okay. Now we got to wrap up. So I'm just going to give the last one. And it's just Chuck Higgins was many people in my circle may know of that name, Chuck Higgins. He was a pastor for 50 some years, retired multiple times, but Chuck just passed away this last year at 94. And he was just a mentor to so many people. I mean, I know when I'm expressing the mentorship that he's had in my life, I know there's literally probably 1,000 other people that even had more influence of Chuck on their life. And maybe he was their pastor or, whatever, but he taught me about grace. He taught me about the fact that there's nothing I can do to earn God's favor. Nothing. Yeah. I mean, just like you can try, you got 2 options, right?
You're yourself tired,
you're going to be perfect like Jesus was, or someone else is going to have to pay the price, which he did. And it's like, man, when you get to walk in that grace, he just taught me that. So I won't go into the details of that, but we used to meet in the mornings, for breakfast. And I will tell this one story about Chuck. When I first called him, I called his office because I moved back to the area. This is 23 years ago, and I wanted a mentor. I just needed someone like that. And I called the office, and they said, yes, he is. He's in. I'll be, can I tell him? Or they didn't ask who's calling. They said, I'll transfer you to his number. So he transferred. I got nervous. He answered. I hung up. I was such a wuss. I told him, because he was like, he's an important guy, and finally I called back one more time. It's like, oh yeah, there was a problem with the connection, but then I explained to him what I was, and he was so gracious. I'm like, will you be my mentor kind of thing? He's anyway, it was just the coolest thing. And Chuck Higgins, shout out to Chuck. I look forward to being with all these people. I look forward to getting to know Carl Ruby better. He probably already knows Eldon Keeball. They're probably already hanging out, and just so cool to be able to think on these people. So shout out next week. We're going to be doing something a little crazy, a little teaser. We're going to be what we kind of wanted to do all along, but we're going to get organized enough. We're going to start bringing some other faces on here.
Yeah, on screen.
Yeah, people to join us. We're going to have 37 people on this broadcast. But not at the same time. So we're going to have a couple, maybe three or four. They're going to be on there, and we're not going to quite get to the old Brady Bunch, series, but we are going to have some more people join us. So stick with us. Today, you're going to shout out. Today, this is a great opportunity. Reflect. Think about those people that have been such an encouragement to you in the great cloud of witnesses, and then think about how you can emulate something about them today and be that person, be that attribute, be that character that's been infused to you, and just be an encouragement. And hashtag shout out, and just do it. And so love someone today, encourage them, and maybe help them wake up on a Monday like Tom needed to help me today. That'd be great.
I just have one important, I think this is a very important question for us to end on. And
it's just like a public service announcement.
Yeah, it's this. Were you that nervous the first time you called me? As you were with Chuck Higgins?
No, because the first time I met you was before a call. We got introduced face to face the first time, so it made that nervous call so much easier.
So much easier. I know.
But anyway, but I appreciate it. I mean, Tom is he always accepts my calls, except when he doesn't, and some
of the times I don't. Exactly.
No, hey, I love you, Tom.
I
appreciate you a ton, and I just want to encourage everyone out there. Press in to that great cloud of witnesses today, and just be an encouragement to someone else. And I'm going to be thinking of Carl, Chuck, Janelle, and Eldon today, Grandpa Keeball. And so it's pretty cool.
Model for us, and let's model that love and that life to all those we come in contact with. I love it.
Yeah, I do too. Hey, and be ready next week. Prepare yourself, because there's going to be people, hard to believe, nicer than Tom and I, that are going to be on here, and we're going to learn from some other people in their shout outs too. So it's going to be awesome. So be prepared. Hey, you never know. You may get a call if you're on here and you're listening. If you make comment right now, be careful. Make those comments, but be careful. You may be on an upcoming shout out Monday. So, all right. Hey, last thing, I'm going to say one last thing, Tom, because if people, it would really be helpful for them to let us know. You and I have been talking about timing, like day and time of the day, what's best. Just let us know. We're watching the algorithms when people watch, right? Because people watch this predominantly.
I don't watch an algorithm. I mean, evidently you're way smarter than I am, because I don't.
Oh, it's so fun.
I don't know how you watch an algorithm.
It's so great. Actually, someone else is watching them and telling me. But the reality is that we'd love to know if there's a certain live time or certain time that is just best for you. Let us know. Send us a message. We love hearing from you. We love the emails. We love the nervous phone calls. I don't get a lot of those, but the nervous phone calls. We really appreciate the comments that you put, and it just encourages us when you guys are buying in to the privilege of being able to shout out to others. So yeah, let us know, and that'd be great. Just send us those comments. But we'll be back next week.
If we want to have a lot of people watching live in the like 18 to 19-year-old male category. About 1 a.m. is what that seems to be prime time for my son.
Instagram.
Yeah.
And Instagram, buddy. We're on the Old Toads Facebook right now. But don't worry, that's coming too. They keep promising that we can do Instagram and Facebook at the same time. So hold on, we might get there. We might get there.
TikTok, and I think it's going to be
IGTV,
a revolution. It is a revolution.
So cool. I just won't even know what to do. But all right.
Hey,
either way, hey, love you, buddy.
Hey, love you. Have a great Monday, everybody.
Happy Monday.